In case you're really new at cooking, which everyone does things differently, I'm gonna show you how I do potatoes. So I just strained them and I'm just gonna mush them up. Right when they're hot, you wanna add butter. I would recommend unsalted is fine. You could do salted, but I wouldn't do any kind of sweet butters. And honestly, you can do half of a butter stick or a whole one, depending on your diet preferences. And then we'll add salt and pepper. And my grandparents do this so differently. They're very adamant about peeling the potatoes, but I like to keep the skin for the nutrition. And they use their blending machine, which I don't have. So I just do the good old-fashioned, if you're new to cooking type of style. Been married for 10 years and I did some baking. I was growing up, did not know I could cook. But like my grandma says, if you can read, you can cook. And honestly, I don't think my mom loved cooking, so my dad went to cooking school. Maybe you've learned your skill from a friend or from YouTube, but I honestly love to learn new things. I got some very diverse friends, more than I ever used to have. Some friends from Nigeria and India, and I love to learn new things so I can have a taste of Africa, as my friend calls it. Alright, I'm gonna add some milk. Milk helps it get fluffy for eggs, if you've ever tried it. And it is a nice additive. I guess you could add water if that's all you have. I'm pretty sure you can add water if that's all you have. You'll be amazed at how well milk does. My friends always ask me, how did you make that? I'm like, milk and butter. Kind of like my friend that makes roti. She just does flour and water. And you're like, wow. My friend uses wheat flour, but I'm using what I have until I run out of it. I usually bake cookies with my flour, but now I'm actually making food. This will work, folks. This will work. All right. Put some salt and pepper in there. I'm a teacher at heart. That's why I like to show people what I make or how I do things, because I learn from others and I can't help but share it. Alright, this fun part is coming up. Let's go back over here. Alright, I do apologize. This camera might be a little bit... Oh, there we go. Okay. Now, we are going to put the potatoes in the bowl. Let me just back up a little bit for you. Alright, potatoes in a bowl. Mix it with our vegetables. And we got some red onion. We got some serrano peppers. If you want to use habanero peppers, then of course do not use your hands. But serrano are kind to my hands. Some cilantro, which I talked about earlier. Oh, I was gonna say, I thought I had some. Some cilantro. That stuff smells so good. When I was a kid, I had some friends from, honestly, their country no longer exists because they were persecuted and they left, but their breath always smelled this, and I didn't know what it was because I was a kid that didn't eat cilantro. And now, as an adult, I don't even like it in my foods, but man, when you mix it in here, it gives it a nice flavor. If you don't like cilantro, you can leave it out. I'm gonna add some of my crushed vegetables from earlier, thinking that the potatoes will soak up some of that juice. Oh, and garlic. Oh, yeah, there's garlic in my crushed material. Here we go. This is the fun part. Okay, and where's that salt? Since I did not add salt to my dough, I'm gonna just add a little bit more in here. Mix it up. If you don't do salt because of diabetic or something, then don't do salt. My friend is really good with her hands because That's what she always does, so she was doing this with her hands. I just like to use a fork, but I'm kind of in the mood of reminiscing of my lesson that she gave me. Okay. Potatoes. Flavored potatoes pretty much is what we're doing. Flavored potatoes in our Roti. R-O-T-I. My friend suggested to make this extra thin. Some people like it thicker, but I guess the only downside is it'll not be as thick, or excuse me, not be as cooked. Yeah? Okay. Really? Oh, that's so silly. Okay, now we're gonna fold it. And now we're gonna make it thin, and I'm gonna start heating my pan up, like medium. Depends on what kind of pan you got. I like to do medium because my stove runs hot. And she puts butter. You can use Pam, I guess, butter. If you do too much, it would be kind of soggy, so just don't do too much. Let's see. Okay, this part, be careful because as you might be able to see, it starts to come through. You know, there's potatoes in here and liquids. So just experiment with it. It's better to have it thin though. I think we're gonna have 2 of these. I think that would be wise. Yes, sweetie. My daughter's watching Tarzan. The only time I started cooking a lot was when she began to sleep, and then I realized maybe I can actually do this. Okay, let's do this guy first. So a little bit of oil will help out with that. Like I said, I'm super new at this. We'll just dip my hand in that oil. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna heat my pan up, and I'm gonna put a little bit of a spray. I'm only gonna spray my pan right before I'm ready. All right, let's get this. Let's do it. Put flour on your roller. They all say they're non-stick, but you know. My friend used oil. Okay, I think Tarzan is over. I think it's good to go roll it one way instead of back and forth. There we go. Once you want to not always trust, if you don't want to trust that roller, then just start pressing it with your hands. And once it's see-through, thin enough, is when you know that it's good. I'm gonna do a little bit of oil because it helps you when you're pressing it. Too much oil, of course, will make it gooey, and this is gonna be nice. So when you feel your hands pretty much touching your counter, or even tearing holes, that's actually good if you like it thin, which is preferred, because it will rise up because it's dough. So, okay, we're gonna put this on the burner. Okay, honey. Give me 1 second. I'm making roti. Alright. I'm gonna spray. Last time I used butter and it was just too watery. So I like the heat a little high so that it can be, you know, sizzling. Alright, I want to turn the heat up a little bit. Of course, you don't want to rush cooking. That's probably why I didn't do a lot of it before. I'm kind of like a one and done type of person. First time I made some Nigerian rice. I was in the kitchen for an hour. That's also before I had a blender. I was chopping up all the habaneros and had added my turmeric, and then my husband said, it was only an hour, but my husband said, I've never seen you in the kitchen that long. That's pretty comical. Butter might give it a nice flavor if you do butter. Oh, you got some cool moves. Of course, the first one will be longer than the rest of them. So this morning I did this, and I did sugar for my daughter. So she had like sugar bread, like brown sugar and cinnamon, and she ate it with honey, and it was pretty much like toast. Serrano, onion, garlic. And there's potatoes in there, so pretty much doing fried potatoes with bread. It's a hearty snack, you know. Lunch, pieces of powder or flour. I mean, it's kind of like no stopping to what you could do with this idea. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it always has a nice kick to it with serrano peppers in there. It's not even that strong. It's just like a really simple recipe that, and so see how if it's thicker it got bubbles? It's kind of like naan. I mean, if you really want to go all out, you can make, turning my heat down a little bit, you can make heart-shaped. You could dye the dough. I thought about that. I actually had dreams. The night that my friend taught me this, I had dreams I was dyeing the dough green and red. I mean, I was obsessed with trying this. Alright, looks good. So if you prepare the dough, I suppose you could make it all happen much quicker. I know it seemed like forever, but it's really delicious. It's homemade, and it's kind of fun to, I don't know, I guess it's a hobby. Have a good night, or a good day. Try something new today.